Lisa, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. It's good to see you.
Good to see you again.
Thank you. So I brought you on because I see you everywhere. I see your work in local businesses and I see you at the art fairs. I know you're showing and you're showing throughout the Midwest. And you have, in my opinion, done a remarkable job of emerging as an artist into a full-time practice. So from what I know of your background, you are largely self-taught and inspired into your career, your career, originally by a high school art teacher. Is that correct?
Yes. Kim Diment is her name. She's still an artist right now, a really good artist. She does realistic animals and stamps and Michigan. I mean, it's just amazing. And she taught me how to see, draw a sun and people draw the circle and the lines. It's not a sun, that's a hairy ball. And that's like where it all started and how I started to see. And now I'm, focusing on everything. But I did take some college art classes. But I've been a full-time painter for 8 years, and I'm basically self-taught, other than my amazing art teacher from high school. I'm painting nonstop. I'm researching nonstop. I get up. I'm trying to find artists I love, inspiration from them. That's my background, I guess. It's not a very big background, is it? It's not very exciting.
It is. You know what's exciting about it is you're succeeding. And a lot of us have that background in that some of us have formal art education, some, so to speak, a college or some kind of institution. Some of us have the curiosity and the drive to get there our own way. And I think it just takes a lot more horsepower, because you don't have the structure around you to help you to acquire the knowledge. You don't have the organizational structure that someone else has put together to present to you that you can then absorb and study and be guided through. So I admire all of the drive and all of the energy that you have directed. You have intense focus and you have whacked your own path through the jungle. You've really forged your own way to getting where you want to be, and you're succeeding. And it's very inspiring.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do still need to learn things. I think we all do at times, maybe. I took your oil class. I'd never painted with oils before. I was so excited. I had the Bob Ross oil set, never opened it because I didn't know what to do. And that was really fun and interesting, and that helped me learn things. And I've taken watercolor classes, around here. If there's something I think that could really, if there's something that can help me as an artist grow and get better, I'm all about that. I'm not, but I'm mostly self-taught. I just can do it. It just comes naturally, I guess, for me.
Well, I think that an element of being self-taught that is required to actually succeed at it, as you are, is, well, two elements. Okay, so you've got the insatiable curiosity, and you've got, all right, three things. You've got the drive, and you're trusting yourself as you go. You're going, you know what, this is working. And you're not undercutting yourself constantly. You're not going, oh, well, maybe I'm supposed to be doing it this way, or that person over there is doing that. And I've noticed that as I've been following your career, is you stand up and you go, I'm here. And you have your own energy and your own chutzpah, we call it in New York, where you just bring it. You got the moxie and you're like, even in my class, I think we first met and you were just magical. You were like, yeah, I don't do it that way. And you had your own approach. And I've always told my students, learn the rules before you break them. But then you have to have the courage to make it your own. And you're doing both. I'm seeing that in you. I'm seeing you doing both. You come to the classes, you want to learn, you're asking the questions. You were a ball of fire in that class. And I was like, wow, who is this? And then you take it and you put your own spin on it and you just keep going and you keep growing constantly. You are never stagnant. And I love that.
I'm a wild woman. I am
Yes,
a
you
very
are.
wild unicorn woman creature. I come in, I want to know everyone. I want to meet everyone. I want to make everyone's day better. I want to make my day better. I just want, the art I create to bring joy, or mostly joy, calm, a feeling. If I'm sad, I want to paint something happy. And then it makes me happy. I was always super weird. I'm still super weird. Class clown. In high school, I wanted to combine animals and people. That was my I want to be weird. I want to do something weird. And, then I was like, oh, I want to create things in the movies, the ETs and the arms falling off. And I wanted to do that. And then it all went to computers. And then I was like, oh, no, I can't do that. And then I just kept painting and playing, and it's so fun. And it's the only thing that brings me peace, calm, shuts my brain down, relaxes me. Otherwise, I am a wild cheetah unicorn woman, just trying to have a great time no matter what I'm doing. And
it's true, though. It's true, though, because you said a couple things. And so the things I noticed about you from the beginning that are still true are your energy and your insatiable curiosity, which is a requirement for success, I think, in anything. But it's funny you mentioned that the FX world, because I also wanted to get into that realm. And
so fun. So
yeah,
cool.
I was really interested in that until computers became so prevalent. Now I work in computers a lot. I do a lot of computer design, but I lost my interest in FX when it all became CGI. And I was like, well,
Same.
I got to do something else. So we have that in common. And
yes,
you're talking about painting, bringing you to a calm place. And that happens to me too. I liken it actually to being beamed up by aliens, because it's like I lose time. I go somewhere else and then suddenly I come back and I'm like, wait, what day is it? So it's all good. And it's where I want to be and never come back when I'm there. It's a meditation.
Yes, I will start painting at 10 a.m. and all of a sudden I can't swallow. I'm fuzzy. I look and it's 11 o'clock at night. I haven't went to the bathroom. I didn't eat anything. I'm like, what just hit? And it was like the most amazing time for me, relaxing. I am such a freak, but painting, I'm just calm and in my zone. And
yes, I've been there. I was just there yesterday, and you look up and it's dark out. So
I don't like to stop. I can't stop. That's why I can't do oils, because I have to paint until I need to get it done.
Oh, I'm going to lecture you about that, because the oils don't dry fast. So you can just keep painting and painting and painting and reworking it. And it's its own kind of crazy too, because you can just keep reworking it. You're not going to get stopped because everything's dry and you have to refresh your palette or anything like that. So it can definitely be its own addiction. But I agree with you on so many things. And I definitely am coming from the same place. Tell me how you got started selling your work. I see it everywhere.
So in college, I created it was a woman kissing a foot, and then it had said something on it. And a lot of the stuff I would make, I didn't like, I'd give to my parents because they just keep it. And my mom ended up taking out the words and showing it to people. And 4 people, a church, they wanted to buy a print. They wanted it. They're like, oh my, I need that.
How'd she take the words out?
It was a collage. I just, I painted and pasted, and she just carefully So my mom's my best friend. I love my mom. So anyway, she's like, Lisa, people want this. This is amazing. And I had done it right at the time of the movie, The Passion of the Christ. Do you remember that? And
I
people
do.
got the vibe that it was like Mary Magdalene kissing Jesus' foot. And I'm not gonna tell you, I don't want to tell you what art means. I want you to feel art. So if that's what you think it is, you feel that and you take that and you love it that way. So we made some prints and I sold like 4 or 5 prints and
Through
I
your
got
mom?
excited.
So
Well, yeah, my mom found the printer and did it and then, so and then I was living in Indianapolis at the time and a woman, she was in Indianapolis. She's like, I want one of those. That's amazing. I'm like, well, I'll get you one. And so I didn't know what I was doing. And so I called my mom, you got to give me one of those prints. And after that, then you get excited. You're like, people want it. And I started to believe in myself. And that's how the prints started. And that's kind of where my whole career started because it gave me the confidence or oh my gosh, people like it.
it started building your confidence that you could actually sell your work.
Yes. So that's how I got started selling. And then so I just started painting and people would want it. And then I would say, okay, how many people would like this? And I'll go get that many, and 5 people, 4 people. And then I'd just go and then I found a printer. And so, and then people want, oh, well, I have a cabin in the woods and can you paint that? And I'm like, yeah, I can paint anything. Like I can paint anything. I could try to paint anything. Certain things are way harder and I don't think they're as fabulous, like I think I'm really good at animals and people are very difficult for me. I'm getting better because I try and I keep doing it. So the more I want to say no, I say yes. And I sell and I just keep if people want something, I give it to them and they love it. And then their friends tell their friends and then everybody's contacting me and and I'm happy because I'm painting, commissions can get very, very frustrating and difficult and, it's not as fun, but.
So I definitely want to ask you about commissions, but first I have a couple questions about what you said. Where did you ask people how many people are interested in this? What was your forum?
So like I said in the beginning, I've lived in 25 homes. I'm not from anywhere. So growing up as a child, I constantly had to make new friends. I constantly had to meet people. I constantly had to tell people who I was my whole life. So I never stopped doing that. So
were you in witness protection?
What's that? What'd you say?
Were you in witness protection? Why were you moving?
My dad worked at General Motors, and every time we'd get transferred, like every year or two, because he'd go where the money is. More overtime, more money, more snow machines, more toys, more fun. And I've lived all over the bottom of Michigan, all over the top of Indiana. So anyway, it's easy for me. It doesn't matter where I go. If I go to, you're talking back in the day. I'm jumping ahead of myself. So back in the day, a church, my mom just was showing people and they're at a church and they're like, we need this in the church. And then I was like, oh my gosh. And then I showed, whoever I was around, check this out. I just sold this to a church. And they're like, well, I want that. And I'm like, okay, I can get that for you. I talk to everyone I meet, whether I'm in the grocery store, if I, and people come up to me too and just start talking to me, random strangers. I don't know if I just give off a vibe, and I always have business cards with me wherever I go. If I go to the dentist and there's somebody sitting there like, oh, well, you know, I have art in my dentist office, and they're like, I love this. And I'm like, I painted that. Would you like some? Or do you love art? Here's my card. You know, I'm always selling myself. Who doesn't love art? I've even had people say, no, I don't need a card. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. You know, I'm just always, if you want to put yourself out there, you got to put yourself out there. You got to be a little annoying, but not too annoying.
Yeah, but you're always selling, and that's good.
Always, always. And I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I sell one and so many people love it. And they're like, well, we want one. But I'm not doing prints anymore right now. I'm jumping all over the place.
No, you're actually following some of my questions, so I'm going to kind of mix them up as we need to. So why are you not selling prints?
Okay, so honestly, prints are a huge pain in my ass. Seriously, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. So in the beginning, it was good for me. And it's different for everyone. You can't take what I'm saying and say, oh, she hates prints. They're pain in her ass. I'm not going to sell prints. You should try. You should do it. You have to dabble in everything to see if it's going to work for you.
Why are they a pain in the ass?
Because number one, they cost money. Number two, you don't know which ones are going to sell. It's like wine. Like you don't go to the store and, you know, not everyone's going to pick that wine. You know, how do you know everyone's going to buy that print? So what do? Do you, like at an art fair? My first art fair, I dropped $1,200 on prints. The pieces that I sold the fastest, or like sometimes I'll have two people interested in one piece and I go, okay, that's a good print, you know? So like I said, I spent like $1,200 on prints, and then I sold some enough to put some gas in my tank, or, you know, get a dinner. And then that's about it. It's not, and then you're holding on to them, and I've given discounts on them because you have so many left over, and sometimes you can't sell them and they're in the way, and they don't really make much money.
So have you ever tried print on demand?
I have not. I just don't do prints anymore, and I'm making more money selling originals than, you know, $20 here, $50 there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good to know, because I think a lot of people assume they have to start incorporating prints because they're a lower price point, but it's very interesting that you're having greater success with originals. So again, we've said on this show many times, there is no wrong way to do this. And that's why I love to ask each artist, what's working for you?
Right. And I do really big pieces. This is 48 by 60. I do huge pieces. So prints are good for people who want you know, just a souvenir or something, a coffee, but you know, it's like that. It's a tchotchke for me because I just don't paint small.
Now, how do you get commissions of pieces that are so big? How do you find a client who wants a 4 foot by 5 foot painting?
Now people come to me. I'm very fortunate. In the beginning, I painted everything online. I recorded myself like Bob Ross, like we are right now. I would just paint and you could watch me. And I didn't say anything, and I'd play music. I have to have music. And people just wanted, and they were like, this is so fun. This is so real. And it was during COVID when I started doing that. So you're stuck at home anyway. And it gave people something to look at and not have to listen to people complain about whatever on Facebook. They could just sit and come to me and watch me paint, leave, come back. Ooh, look what she did. And
Was it live?
Then, yeah, I just did it live. I just Facebook live, painted,
What is the time? Is there a time limit in that? A cutoff time?
Mm-mm.
As you can tell, I haven't done it live.
Nope. And I wouldn't do that again.
Why?
Because nowadays you have so many capabilities to make it awesome, like editing and shortening it. Nobody wants to sit and watch me paint for 4 hours straight. You know what I mean? But I didn't know how to do all the editing in that. And I was just like, and little kids love to watch it. And then little kids get excited and then they want, and then people call me, can I bring my little kid over? They want to see what you do. And, it just gets everybody kind of excited. Art's fun. And I loved watching Bob Ross. So I was like, why wouldn't people want to watch me?
So that built your following.
It's one way. Yes. And then I will paint, take a photo, post it. Now they have the Facebook stories. Is that what it's called? I don't know what it's called. The circle on the top. Now you can pick amazing music, popular music, in like whatever you're feeling when you're painting, post a picture of the art and then paint for 3 more hours and post it again with a new piece of music and then post it again with and it's beautiful and way more entertaining and fun that way, and those stories go away. You can't keep them, but and then just post in your just post. Like I forget what he said, but you should post 6 times a day, which I think is way too much. I think that's way too much.
So
maybe
too.
It was 6 times a week. Maybe it was 6 times a week.
I think once a day is fine as long as you're consistent.
And if you're not, I don't think you should be talking. I don't think you should be sharing like your opinion on things. It's just your art. That's another thing. I don't want to upset anyone or annoy anyone or, I just want to, as always, bring joy, calm, just something fun. And that's just, so now everybody's like, ooh, look what she did. I want that. Can I get that? Will you do this? Sure. I don't know. Let's try it. Just
the
that's
curiosity.
kind of my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you sell your art on the fair circuit through commissions and selling online. So tell me about the pros and cons of the art fair circuit first.
So I think every artist should try it. I've known, myself included, I've been to a show where I didn't sell one thing, nothing. Only once, but it happened. And I talked to other artists that day and they're like, I didn't sell a thing either. Some days are just bad. Also during COVID, people, and right now, it's so expensive right now. Gas and food, steaks, everything's so expensive. So you can't really base it on right now. If you go do a show and you don't do very well, it's right now is not a good time, But pros of it, you're getting out there. It's your marketing. You have business cards. You're handing out so many business cards. You're showing everyone your art. You get to learn the market. So you're not supposed to walk around, but of course you're going to. You get to see what else is out there, what they're doing, what people are selling. Because these are juried shows. You can't just bring your tent and pop it up. You got to get in. So
you're not talking about shows you can just buy a slot anywhere. You have to actually get approved to be in the show.
Yes, you have to be juried in. You have to send in, 3 picks and your booth pick, and then you got to wait and see if you get in. And they're very expensive. So some shows are $700, some are $450, some are, all around that. And then you got to haul all your stuff, and then you gotta here's the cons. You gotta it's hard. It's very extreme. So Ann Arbor Art Fair, it was like 102 degrees, 10 hours a day, so hot. It's just it was miserable, and nobody was there because it was too hot. And to build a tent and hang huge pieces of art, thank God for my husband. I could not do it without him. I could not. I'm too small. I'm not strong. He does the majority of the work for me, and I could not do it without him. So you need to be strong. You might not sell anything. Then when you travel, you have to pay for your hotel. You have to pay for the gas. You got to feed yourself. So sometimes you're in the hole. But for me, when I do art fairs and people look at my booth, they love it, but they're like, I need these colors. And I'm like, well, I can do that for you. You don't have to have this. I can do whatever you want. So then I'm, later on, I'm getting commissions. So it's just, there's good, there's bad, pros and cons, I guess. There's pros, there's cons. I'm not going to do them very much moving forward. Again, because it's exhausting, it's expensive. I do make money. I don't make a ton. It is worth it, but I would rather do the Escanaba show here in my hometown, and maybe Marquette, which is also very close, because then I can drive home. I don't have to get a hotel. I don't have to, I can eat at home.
So if people are saying, I like this, but I like these other colors, and you're saying, hey, I can do that, are we talking about getting into a situation, live selling with a human, of course, that is going to suddenly want you to spit out a price? How do you handle the pricing on the fly? I assume this becomes inevitable, this question of, well, how much is it going to cost?
My prices are always changing.
Do they ask you
get, they always do.
What do you say?
And I always say, with animal art, like a dog, a lot of people love their dog or their cat, or I've done cows. Anyway, a 16 by 20, an animal, your choice of colors, or
so you've set price colorful ranges for sizes.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I don't say anything but this. I say a 16 by 20 is the set price. It usually works. Some people say, you know what, that sounds so good, but I would like a bigger one. They're going to have to pay more for a bigger one, and they know it too. It just works out very well for me. I've sold so many commissions just saying that. It's not. And then from there, after that, I say I'm $50 an hour plus the price of the canvas. And that's how I work it for anything else. And
okay.
And then I can say, once I see the photo or we talk about what you need or want, I can give you a better price range. I can estimate, and I always say, this is an estimate. It could be a couple hundred more, it could be 100 less. You never know. It just depends. But I'm a very fast painter. That's with me. I can paint. I'm just super fast. So it doesn't take me long to get things done.
Do you keep records of what you've told certain people so that if you're talking to them later on the phone, you can refer back to, say,
100%. I'm in my studio right now, and I'm not, don't do what I do. But like, all these are like the time I worked on it, how many hours, the date, these are all, and I just keep plopping. My husband, just, it drives him insane. He's like, are you serious? What are you doing? I'm like, it's what I do. I'm so busy, and it's just, I'm not organized, and I'm very flighty, and I'm all over the place. And if I can somehow make it happen, that's what I do.
But you're successful.
Thank God. I'm blessed, I guess.
Well, and you've been one of my students. I lecture about track your time, because how are you going to quote something to a customer? You may or may not work solely on time. I work with a formula that incorporates time largely, especially if it's a commission portrait. But no matter what I'm incorporating as far as factors, I've got to know how long it takes me. And you and I have both talked about in the past, making sure that you stay cognizant, you stay aware of the things that take up your time that aren't in the studio that you might otherwise forget.
Right. And that's my husband, again, I love him so much. And
He's a
not just
good
for
guy.
that, but for all, yeah, he's a good dude. And he's been telling me that he's like, Lisa, the research you're putting in, the hours you're researching, and then going, I have to stop and go get paint. And then I have, my brushes are getting destroyed because I'm just wild with them. And, all that you have to factor in. And again, like I said, my prices just keep going up little by little. In the beginning, I got the cheaper paints, and now I'm going to get some more expensive paints. And you just, as an artist, you just keep going, keep trucking, keep building, keep doing better every time. And that's your price has to go up too. You can't, you got to eat and feed yourself and do the things as well.
That's right. And we're both fortunate in that we married very wonderful, very large, strong men because we're both tiny.
Yes. Yes. I'm 5'1".
And
he's
maybe have half an inch on you.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Thank God.
I'm heading towards 5'1" myself. And he's probably what our husbands are around 6 foot. So
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
God bless them. So when you show at the fairs, do you tailor the work that you bring to that locale?
So for me, every show I go to, if I'm going to Art on the Rocks in Marquette, I'm going to drive to Marquette and I'm going to take the most amazing photos I can find myself of the water, of the waves, of a church. They have a really pretty red lighthouse. And there was a little couple on the beach, and it was like perfect. I painted it. I took it there. I sold it. I sold all of them. Every time I go somewhere, I research where I'm going. I try to either take the photos myself or ask people, have you ever been there? Do you have any awesome pictures? Or I try to create art for the location, and 99% of the time they all sell. I mean, I think they always sell. I went to Chicago. So I painted the Chicago skyline 3 different ways. One with glitter, one with abstract, just a couple colors, and one, love Chris Farley. He's from Chicago. Kind of, you've seen it at the house.
I have.
That one did not sell, but the other 3 did.
I think you're glad that you still have that one, though. That one's really cool.
I love it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Now you're too attached to sell that one.
So that's something that I do for.
How much time do you give yourself ahead of time to make the pieces, and how many do you bring ish?
I have Whitefish Bay in Milwaukee coming up this summer, and I have 4 months to do 4 paintings. And okay. I'm going to, I already have the plan, and I know what I'm going to paint. I just need to paint it now. I need to whip it out.
I love that. Thank you.
Most artists either paint boats, or they paint abstract. Me, I'm kind of like, I got a little bit of everything going on.
That was one of my questions. Like, what? How do you choose your subject matter?
And that's not the rule. That's not like what you're supposed to do.
That's a Lisa rule.
It is, because I'm just personally so out there, and so like, I love everything. I can't just paint one thing. I can't do it. Maybe one day I will, but I don't think so. What did you ask me?
So you paint, you choose your subjects based on what you're interested in.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's great, because that's very freeing, actually, because I talk to artists, and even myself, I'll self-censor sometimes and go, well, I love to paint pigs or whatever it is that just I'm interested in. And I'll say, but I'm doing this over here because I think that's what the market wants. And that's no. You follow the passion, even if it's eclectic. To a point, unless you're with a gallery, that's different, but you can still paint what you love on the side.
They really want you to be galleries and all the rules that you read about
Right.
being an art. They really want you to be organized and one subject, or one, not exactly a subject, but everything should, like, I've done like 8 paintings of Burano, Italy.
Yeah.
And because they're so beautiful, they're so colorful. When COVID hit, I just wanted something bright and happy for people to put in their houses, where you could decorate any color you want. And I just did so many of those because I just couldn't stop, because I loved it so much. That's very, I don't even know if cohesive is the right word, but that's what they want you to do,
Yes.
But then I'm like, okay, that's enough of that now. Now let's do some, multicolored animals with some glitter. And okay, now I just did a bunch of that. Now let's, like, waves. I love the whole wave and the motion, and water is just, when you're by the water, your soul is just, it's just like, I just love it so much. And when it's on the wall, it's just a vibe that just feels right. And mostly I paint stuff that I want in my house on my wall, and that's another thing we talked about. Like, I go wherever I go, if it's Hobby Lobby or, I don't know, Kirkland's, or Pier 1 is gone, but I go and you go right to the art. And I just kind of see what's going on and see what they're selling and what's hot. And, you go on websites and you can see what's selling the most and see what people are scooping up. And then what you can paint and what you love, and you can, like, get inspired from that. And that works. That's how you can research what's popular right now, so you're not stuck in whatever you're doing.
Great advice. Yeah, thank you for that. So let's talk about where you have the best success selling your work online and how you do it so well.
Okay, so I talked about it a little bit before about Facebook, just constantly painting on Facebook. I've sold paintings while I was live painting them before I finished it. Music artists are making music on their computers and becoming billionaires. You can do anything at home now if you have a computer or a phone with a camera and Facebook. And, so many people despise Facebook. It is my everything in the art world. I have, I've created myself and all this through Facebook. I do Instagram as well. I don't have many followers on Instagram. I'm not savvy with it. If you're savvy with this, you need to take advantage of it. If you're not, you're missing out. With the music you can play and the videos you can make and just posting your art. I get messages all the time. Can you paint this? Could you do this as a gift? It's constant. People we don't talk on the phone anymore. There's people I don't even know what they look like. Maybe if I Facebook them, and I've talked to people, got an email, sent them a painting. I've never met the people. You just do it, and you just keep doing it, and you just got to get yourself out there. Instagram, Facebook. I'm sure TikTok would be amazeballs if I got into it, but again, it's another time suck, and I don't have time, and I have to learn it, and eventually maybe I'll do the TikTok thing. My friend's daughter tried to set me up a TikTok, and I just can't do it right now.
I know I need to get there too. Well, and I think a lot of people get stuck on the whole do it live because there's so much pressure in their mind to do these things live. So I think it's okay. Well, I'm declaring it okay to record yourself and you don't have to be live. And then if you like the results, because how many times have I'm very introverted. So I'd rather be the interviewer than be the center of the interview. It's just my personality. It takes more energy for me to be the presenter. So, and the center of the attention. But I can't tell you how many times I've shied away from just turning that camera on. And then 4 hours later, I'm like, oh, I'm happy with this. I wish I would have recorded the process.
Always record yourself. And with your iPhone now, they have, I don't know about any other phone, but you can, what is it, you speed up time.
Yes.
So you can paint for 7 hours and then, speed it up and make it like a half-hour Bob Ross time. And how fun is that to watch someone paint a whole painting? And I would watch you. I would watch you so hard. I would love to watch you because I can paint faces, but I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm trying to learn it right now. I'm trying to figure it out.
Well, and you'll see it in my course. And I do that. I speed up the videos. I don't speed them up like that. You're going to see everything you need to see, but you don't have to watch paint dry that portrait in the course that I use in this example, it took probably at least 20 hours to paint that portrait. It's not 20 hours of video because I show what I think is vital. And I also do a voiceover because I don't like instruction where the person is teaching and they're painting at the same time, because in this type of format, a video format, because they're thinking while they're painting and there's a lot of dead air. So in that particular venue, I speed up the video as necessary to key in on what you're learning. And it's paced to an audio voiceover that will give you content so that if you're watching, you're learning. So I agree with you. You can adapt. You don't have to always be live. You can speed up your videos, especially if it's on social media and it's
take
for
a
that
picture.
Yeah.
When you start,
stop frame.
I used to do a picture of the drawing, then a picture of and then another every couple hours. Take a
still do
post it. That's fun.
Yep.
If the people that like what you're doing will follow you and enjoy you and tell people, and then it's just, now is the time for an artist with this whole, I've never been in a gallery. I don't feel like, my gallery is online. You can see everything on Facebook or Instagram or, or
your website.
I have my website. My website. I don't know about my website. I haven't had much action on my website.
That will come. We've talked about that. That will come too. I think you have to build it into your process. But I do have a question about the way that you sell like crazy through online venues when you do. I know a lot of it, I think what filters out probably my questions about scammers is that you're on social media. But I've had problems with the usual scammers that might come along and say, hey, I see you're selling in this shopping cart situation. Can we just go to email? And that's a red flag right there. If they want to jump out of a pre-set up platform and get you to the side and start talking to you on text or email, you can't get any solid answers from them. You can't get them on the phone. So
you definitely need to be careful. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I did a whole episode on it. This guy just kept going and going. And I just made I'm like, keep talking, baby. And it was funny. But how do you avoid the fraudsters?
So far, I pretty much know who is trying to contact me. But like I said, there's people I've never met, but like I know their friend from their friend, and I know that it's all good. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, you can trace them basically.
Right. And if you do have a weird feeling, always trust that and get the money up front.
Yes.
They'll and so many people are like, can I pay you now? And I always just say, you can pay me when I'm done. But if I didn't feel good about it or I was nervous about it, I would definitely say, yes, I need you to pay me up front.
And that needs to be done through an electronic system. So many people will try to scam you by saying, well, I need to send you a check. Well, that's one thing. And y'all can go back to episode 51, I think it is, on scammers. And I'll put the link. You'll see it in the bottom of this video here. But specifically, the person that was trying to scam me, and hold on, I'm going to show you this. So this is pretty funny. I have this framed in my studio, and people look at it and they go, oh, is that the first, paintings you sold? And I'm like, no, this was the first scammer that tried to rip me off. And they were saying, I'll send you a check. I'll send you a check. And I'm like, yeah, this guy's not going to send. By now I was like recording everything they were doing, turning it into an episode. And I'm laughing, with my husband about this. And lo and behold, a check shows up in the mail. And I didn't put it in the bank. I did some research. I called the bank that issued the document. And we talked about the logos on the check and the numbers on the check. And they were like, yeah, we lost track of those years ago. So they were like, do not cash that. And I went back and forth with this fraudster, and I was trying to keep them talking because I was turning it into this episode, and it was very, very interesting and very funny. But believe it or not, after all of this, and I accused them of trying to scam me. I basically was like, the gig's up. I've reported you. Stop contacting me. They sent me check number 2, same check number. They just had, I guess, a pad of all these checks with the same check number. And they thought somehow if they resent it to me, I would try to cash it. It's the exact same check number. It's hysterical. So
it's scary.
That's very scary.
It's scary. You got to be on your game. You got to be paying attention. You can't get too excited. Can't get excited. You got to do the work and pay attention, and don't get too excited and jump in and get it done, and then you're out.
The people that prey on artists are counting on that excitement of you going, oh my gosh, I sold something, that first sale, or just the interest that they're generating in your work. And you think that you have a real interested buyer that says, I've got an anniversary coming up. I don't care what it costs. Just give me your price. I'll send you the money. That's nice. Here's my PayPal link, right? Or, go through Venmo or whoever you're going through. But if somehow you end up with some kind of check or not direct deposit transaction where you're waiting for it to clear, you don't only want to wait for that money to clear, but you want to wait like 10 days after it clears. Because if it's fraud, the bank is going to advance you that money. And 10 days later, when that check turns up to be fraudulent, the bank's going to come back to you and say, hey, Lisa, where's my money? And you're going to have to pay that back. So if you go spend it, the bank's going to come after you. And guess who's going to be accused of fraud? Not Mr. Mystery. You're going to get accused of trying to rip off the bank. So these things are very important. It's really important to just keep your wits about you and stay measured, and don't jump and go, oh my gosh, yeah, that's fine. This is not your best friend. You do not actually know who this person is. Chances are they're hiding their identity. This person started out saying they were in one state, and then they started talking about their uncle, and then somebody died and there was a funeral in another state, and then there was a niece involved. And by the time we were done, there were like 5 states in play, and I couldn't actually even tell you who died. I think it was the uncle. I don't know why they couldn't pay me, but there was this whole carousel of circumstances that was fascinating. So these are all red flags. Many guests talk about, I want to tip on something before we wrap up, the difficulty of having, we're talking about making connections over social media, of having friends and family ask them for discounts. So you and I have talked about your unique way of avoiding this problem, and I would love for you to talk about it.
So when I started wanting to sell my art, and I was a lunch lady for 8 years. It was awesome. And I started getting asked to do paintings. And so that started working out for me. So I needed to get back in the game and get my skills brushed up. So I just started painting all my friends and family 16 by 20s, 18 by 24s, just little gifts that I thought they might like. You know, my aunt loves swans or, you know, flowers, and then my uncle and, you know, my mom and dad and my friends. I'm like, here's a little, you know, here's a mermaid. I thought you'd like it. And, you know, and then, you know, pretty much gave it away. And it was really good practice for me. It upped my skills. Here's your freebie. From here on out, you know, I'm going to start doing this full time. So if you're interested in anything else, you know, so that's kind of what I did. I still give discounts to family. And
I still do sometimes too, as long as it's your idea. That's my rule. As long as it's your idea, nobody can tell you not to give a discount to your friends and family. But if people are harassing you and expecting it, that's different, because then they are disrespecting your boundaries.
The more I've done this, the more now I'm full-time. Now I need the money. I don't have another job, so I can't discount, you know, I can't. I just can't.
So did you tell them when you gave them the gift, did you verbalize anything like saying, after this one, if you want another one? You did.
Yeah. Here's your freebie.
What I like to do, especially if I give a discount or a gift to family, I will say to them, if somebody asks you about this painting or asks you about the price, don't tell them a solid price, because, you know, in 5 years, if somebody asks, that price may change. It's probably going to be higher. But I will say you can give them a range, and I will tell them what the range would be if they had paid full price for that, and say, you know, you can tell them
it was all the time. I've said the same thing. Yes.
And it sends the message to them as well that, you know, this is quite a gift.
My brother, I have one brother, Michael Daly. He's always like, hey, sis, friends and family discount, right? I'd love this with this. And, you know, and I'm just like, I always joke. I'm like, oh, yeah, I can do that for like $8,000, you know, when it's not good. You know, I just joke. That's how I answer now. Like, sure, $8,000 or sure, 10,000.
But he stopped asking.
Yeah, you know, it's
at least for a few minutes.
It's all good.
So I want to thank you for taking the time to come on and share your story and your journey. I mean, you've just got this momentum going, and your success as a full-time artist is inspiring. It's clear that you're not only moving in the right direction, but I think you're rapidly accelerating, and you're growing as an artist. And that, I think, is largely due to the insatiable curiosity. So thank you so much. And I would love for you to wrap us up with your best advice for our listeners for becoming that artist that just, it doesn't happen overnight. We know that, but they seem to explode onto the scene and just be everywhere.
For me, when I wanted to start, I told you I was a lunch lady, and people were asking for things, and I wanted to paint myself just to get back into it and feel it out. I didn't have anywhere to paint. And so I started painting in my kitchen. So when you get that vibe, or when I had our son Tyler, I can't paint and raise a child and be like, I have to paint, I have to focus. So once he was able to make his own sandwiches and wipe his own butt, that's when I started painting in my kitchen, and I didn't stop, and I made a mess, and it was annoying, and it got in the way. But you know what? It got me going. It got me started. It got me excited. So if you have nowhere to do it, make room. If it's on the floor in your living room, do it. Just do it. Don't make excuses. You can paint anywhere. You can paint in your garage. My husband, he supports me. He supports everything I do. You got to have support. You need support. That's how I'm able to do it full time as well. It's double income. It's hard. I think that's hugely hard for artists that's why they call us starving artists, right? Because it's so hard to make money and support yourself in the beginning. It's rough. It's very rough, but you have to keep doing it. It's a world for artists right now. Like I said, online, use it. Don't be afraid to get out there. I see young people doing it all the time, even from our high school here. Digital art, she's posting her art all the time. I love it. I love looking at that stuff. It's so fun. It's people enjoy it. It's enjoyable. Don't think that people aren't going to like me I feel like the less you say, the more you post your art, the better. Just be a good person. Your art always will get better. It will get better. The more you do it, the better you get. That's true story. Peace, love, and art.